you know, Hasidic Jews are not on board with Israel. So I lived in an Hasidic Jewish neighborhood when I first moved to Los Angeles. I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know anything about anything really to do with Israel until October 7th. And then I got informed. I didn't know about the Nakba. I knew that they were an occupying force. I didn't know how horrible. I didn't know about all the stuff they do. I didn't know that they were funding Hamas. I didn't know that all that stuff. So this is these are you would call them real Jews, right? The Hasidic Jews. Well, when Zionists, Jewish Zionists, encounter Hasidic Jews, it's not pretty. Let's watch this.
We come from Israel. Our people come from Israel. You have come your
Zionism is a political movement which is...
So they're explaining to her that Zionism is evil, that it's not of God. They don't go along with it. And she's never been given an opposing view of this in her whole life. And first she says, you guys are Jews. How could you say this? Then she says, you're not Jews. But obviously these guys are Jews. So they're explaining to her that Zionism is evil and they don't go along with it. And they're here to support the Palestinian people.
That's where our family is from. I'm from Israel. How can you hold that flag?
This is because the actions of the Zionist people, they are responsible.
What are you talking about? That's where our ancestors.
We lived in a beautiful
What
peace.
flag is that? How can you say that? You're a Jew.
We lived in a beautiful peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years.
How can you say that? You're not a Jew. You're not a Jew. How dare you?
When Zionism came in, they caused bloodshed. They caused rivers of bloodshed.
How can you say that? You're Jewish. How can you shame your own people?
Who is a Jew?
We're Jews.
He was against Judaism.
We're all Jews here, right?
Yeah, so how are they saying that?
Because they believe in God.
You don't want genocide. I don't want that.
That's our country.
And the Talmud says that our country like that.
That is our country. How dare you say that about our own people?
She's screaming at a Hasidic Jew, I'm Jewish! I think they have the upper hand on the Jew thing. So they're saying Judaism condemns Israel and their atrocities. So the Zionists desperately want to conflate Zionism with Judaism, and these people won't let it happen. So these are the Jewish people. A lot of people would say the real Jewish people, and that the Zionists they're not even religious. They just want to conflate Judaism with their Zionism to give themselves a shield. And these are the real Jews, and they're saying no. Judaism condemns Israel and their atrocities. Judaism condemns Zionism. You don't see this on the news much. You don't see that. You don't hear those Jewish voices on the news much. But a lot of Jews, the most religious Jews, don't support Israel. Isn't that interesting? And this woman cannot, she's freaking out. And she's doing that with her kid. They got her toddler with her. She shows up in yoga pants. She's going to scream at a bunch of guys in Hasidic garb, telling them, I'm Jewish. So that's fantastic. You want to watch it again?
Yes.
Okay. A Jew does not
Zionism.
A Jew does not support genocide. These guys got it. They know what they're talking about.
Political movement which is causing bloodshed. Rivers of bloodshed.
That's where our family is from, like from Israel. How can you hold that flag?
This is because the actions of the Zionist people, they are
What are you
responsible.
talking about? That's our ancestors.
We lived in a
That is
beautiful
what
peace.
flag is that? How can you say that? You're a Jew.
We lived in a beautiful peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years.
How can you say that?
We lived with in peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years until the Israeli Zionist project. They lived in peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years. And then the European Jews came in, started doing the Israel project, and did the Nakba, kicked 750,000, slaughtered them, raped them, killed them, kicked them out of their own land. That's called the Nakba. That's how Israel got founded.
You're not a Jew. You're not a Jew. How dare you?
When Zionism came in, they caused the bloodshed. They caused rivers of bloodshed.
How can you say that you're Jewish? How can you shame your own people?
Who is a Jew?
We're Jews.
He was against Judaism.
Jewish too. We're all Jews here, right?
Yeah, so how are they saying that?
Because they believe in God.
You don't want genocide. I don't want that.
That's our country.
And the Talmud says out of our country like that.
That is our country. How dare you say that about our own people?
It is funny. What a sheltered life, huh? Talk about a sheltered life.
You know, it's a real testament to those people around her that weren't screaming back at her. That they were able to continue to talk to her in a civilized manner, and she started to shriek.
Oh, yes. Boy, that's what happens when a Jew is confronted with the truth by another Jew. It is funny. Did you find it funny, Misha? It gives you anxiety? It did? Really? Ah. I find it hilarious. Well, could you give me a donut? It's funny. She goes, why could you be this isn't funny? It is funny. But okay, Misha's a little more sensitive. Easy. How could you do stand-up comedy and be, if you get anxiety? That's woof. That's all anxiety, especially if you get heckled. You ever been heckled? No. See? Yeah, I know.
I heckle her in the office all the time.
Yeah.
She doesn't know it.
Okay. All right. That was fun. How many segments have we done today? 6? No, Nathan weighs 1. Are you fucking kidding me? We've only done 6 segments today? Okay. What time is it?
It's 3:16.
Oh, so we've only been on the air for like
That was 7.
That was 7. Okay. Thank you. We've only been on the air for like an hour and
Yeah.
40.
And our goal was to do a premium streamium at 3:30.
All right, over to Steph.
All right, here we go, girls. Here we go. All right. Renee DeRest has studied the Russian Internet Research Agency. They create many political memes trying to influence other countries' elections and cause chaos indirectly through social media. Nothing to see at that Stanford Observatory, right? Jimmy, I got my Tucker tickets already for Sunrise, Florida. Jimmy, he doesn't have a guest yet mentioned for his Florida one.
When is it?
I don't know. He doesn't have a guest scheduled yet for Florida. FYI, Jim. Thank you, Cag Hammond. Jimmy, I want to thank you again for the New Jersey show, Reverend Edmund Batella. It all centers around power, abuse of power, and those driven to compulsively protect it versus those who realize they can and should stand up to it. Those who had to protect/obey parents versus those who didn't. Hannah, sir. Thank you, Hannah, sir. I appreciate your insights. Okay, Joe must have seen a child wanting to sniff one. Thank you for that one. I read that one.
Oh, I had jokes for that.
Jimmy, I don't know if you remember that. Who was the guy on the show who ran an organization that watched internet psyops? I think it was last year, Mr. Worthless Eater. Does anybody recall that? I can't recall that. That's a hard one. That's like a test question. But my team is thinking about it. My first ever rant. Trump and all these politicians and the global elite are all bitches of Rome and the Jesuits. Stiff Richie. Look at you, Stiffy. All right. That's a sweet mullet you got coming in there, broski. Back from the road. Please clip your ridicule of these current form of Catholic comics. As a Catholic would-be artist, I can tell you how I am grateful and I am for your outsider commentary. What a stupid moment this was. Already dead.
So stupid.
Thank you so much for that one, amigo.
I mean, you get
Back
right?
to Jimmy.
Is there anybody who disagree? I mean, probably, I don't know. I would like to think that at any point in my career, had I been invited to have an audience with the Pope, that I would do something inappropriate. I hope so. That's what a comedian's supposed to do. You're not supposed to sit there and be a sycophant to power and grovel. Great. Just a stupid person. Anyway, god damn, just a bureaucrat. Oh, all right. And anyway, over to stuff.
All right. My real name says this woman's voice gives me anxiety also. So you're not alone, Misha. That's from my real name. They wanted to let you know that. How did Nathan Wade make it to law school, let alone graduate? I would love to see his school work. Thank you for that, magnified giant. Want to hear some corruption and have a laugh and get breakdown from Shane Dowling from the Kangaroo Court of Australia and on our robo-debt shenanigans down under. It's a cracker. Thank you. It's a cracker. Before the Atlantic Council took down my largest YouTube channel in 2014, they took down Palestinians exposing the IDF for the thugs they are. We should have stopped that machine then. And that was from Nateflix. This woman's voice gives me anxiety. I read that one. Yosh, it's amazing the similarities between Zionists and the right Republican after 9/11. If you don't want to bomb this and starve millions of Afghans and Iraqis children, you're not an American.
Okay.
Yosh.
Ready?
Back to Jimmy.
memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running this system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it, then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit